Hi everyone. Pancakes sound so good for dinner as a fall meal. So let's make some pancakes. I will put the recipe in the description box of this video, but right now we are starting with our milk. That's 1.5 cups of milk in there. Next, I'm going to add my egg. This calls for 1 egg, and then we have some oil, and it calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil. So I'm going to put in 2.5 tablespoons of oil, and then what we're going to do is whisk this up so that egg gets all nicely mixed up in there and nice and fluffy for our pancakes. To go with these pancakes, I made some bacon, as you can tell, and a nice hot cup of coffee. So what we're going to do next is add in our dry ingredients, and we will start with the flour. This recipe calls for 1.5 or 1.25 to 1.5 cups of flour. So I am adding in 1.5 cups, or a little between 1.25 and 1.5 cups of flour. So next we will move on. Let's see, we're going to add in our baking powder, and this recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So there we have that in there. And next what we'll do is add in the sugar. So we have, I believe this calls for 2 tablespoons of sugar. Yes, 1, 2. And next what we're going to do is add in our salt, and this calls for 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and I do have a 3/4 teaspoon that I can measure with. So here goes our salt, and that is all of the dry ingredients that we have in this recipe. Now what we'll do is whisk this up, and we'll try to get rid of all those lumps and incorporate all of our ingredients into a nice smooth pancake batter. And there we have it. The next thing that I am going to do is get my griddle ready. And what I did was I fried a pound of bacon to have with the pancakes, and I'm using the bacon grease to fry my pancakes in. It is so delicious. It kind of gives your pancakes that smoky bacon flavor. It's really yummy. And you can see that I have fit about 4 pancakes on my griddle. This recipe makes between 8 and 10 pancakes. And you can make them as thick or as thin as you like according to how much flour you put in. So now we're going to let these sizzle for a little bit here and wait for the bubbles to form on the tops of the pancakes. And now that the bubbles have formed, we will flip our pancakes over, and you can see we have a nice brown pancake with some crispy edges, which I love pancakes with crispy edges. They are so yummy. And we will let these cook on the griddle for a little while so that they will be done all the way through. And they are sizzling away. And here we have our plate ready, and we will take our pancakes and add them to our plate. And they are complete. Now we will go ahead and plate our pancakes, add some butter and some bacon on the side, and top it with some syrup. And the syrup that I'm using is Mrs. Butterworth's, and it's actually sugar-free syrup because I need to watch my sugar. So I bought some sugar-free syrup, and it actually isn't bad. It's pretty good. So there we go, adding our syrup to our yummy pancakes, and we will have a wonderful breakfast for dinner. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. The recipe is in the description box. Bye!